How was your morning been?
Long. Can't seem to go fast enough. Okay.
So it's not good?
No, I just can't get all my words out fast enough. Fine. Okay. As a reminder, because I haven't seen enough of your faces. I haven't. I don't really like seeing people in the morning. I'm not a morning person, but I need to see your face. I'm putting in zeros if you missed the math workshop test or the completing this square quadratic formula quiz this Friday. Now, just because I put in the zero doesn't mean you can't continue to make it up. I get that. You ought to have it made it by then. Before I put in a zero into like a 60% category grade, that would be terrible. And it would be terrible for you not to try the completing the square quadratic formula quiz, because completing the square and the quadratic formula are both on the test on Friday. So why you wouldn't take a quiz before a test is beyond me as well. But I digress. Just a reminder. I'm starting today on number 30. We're trying to get through 46. We've got to fly to make it happen so you can have some time to do your book stuff. You said what, dear? It is, and Travis said it forever ago, and we're giving it to him. You can graph it, or the easiest thing to remember is that an x-intercept happens when y is 0. So if we plug in a 0 for y, we'll have negative 5x equals 20, so x equals negative 4. So the answer really is D. As for 31, I promise you if you scream an answer and it's wrong, I will be upset. So make sure you're positive before you answer this one. Is it D? You can have a point for that. X equals negative 2 is going to be a line that goes through the point negative 2 on the x-axis. So it's this kind of a line. As a reminder, if it's an up and down line, it's undefined. If it's like a side-to-side line, the slope is 0. Yeah, you're supposed to remember that. As a reminder, if you want to think about your car can technically, if your car is like this, and, you know, we're pretending we're in neutral, it's not going any miles per hour. It's just sitting there. But if your car is like this, then things are definitely undefined. That's very impressive. In fact, you can have 2 for that, man. Okay, number 32 is annoying. I hope there's not one this difficult on this semester exam, just because it takes a few minutes, and who has time for that? One point is negative 7.4. The other point is 5y. Our slope is negative 1.4. I know about 3 different ways to do this. Anyone have a suggestion? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead and tell me. You might be right. Okay.
When in doubt, don't say it out.
Tell me what you think the answer is. What's the answer?
He said C.
You think it's what? It is, and you can have one. Okay, so let's talk about this. I don't know how she did it. I've got about 3 different suggestions. My first suggestion is to use the formula for slope. I am a formula person, so this is probably the way I would do it. I know my m, they told me it's negative 1.4. So I'm literally y minus 4 in the numerator, 5 minus negative 7 in the denominator.
So it's really 5 plus 7.
Yes, which is just 12. So I'm gonna, on my next line, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. You can have a point for 1.
Yes!
So I've really got y minus 4 over 12 on the right side. From here is where you can have 2 different trains of thought. You got to here and you're like, that's great, I still don't know what y is. You can either cross multiply, so 4 times y minus 4 equals negative 1 times 12. So 4y minus 16 equals negative 12. 4y equals 4, y equals 1. You can do that in blue. No one said you couldn't. That's an option. That's not how I thought about it. I thought about the fractions themselves. I knew we had negative 1/4. I knew we had something over 12, and you and I get to manipulate it. Like, that's what we get to pick, what's going to affect the numerator. So I was thinking through what over 12 reduces to negative 1/4. And I realized, hey, 3 over 12 reduces to 1/4. So in the numerator, I need a negative 3. Just so happens, 1 minus 4 is -3. So maybe y really does need to be 1. I know that's a weird way to think of it, but I liked it better than cross multiplying. I do have one more suggestion in case you're still just like, no, I never would have gotten D. My last suggestion is probably the way you want to do it if you see one like this in the future, because you like graphing. So maybe I would actually graph it. Plot the point A at -7, 4. And then I understand B is going to cross x equals 5. I know my slope is -1/4, so why not actually count down 1/4, down 1/4, until you actually can connect the dots, and then for sure you'll know B is at 5/1. So that would probably be my suggestion. If you really didn't understand the math I was doing, I would probably graph it and figure out the points from graphing it. Okay, are there any questions about 32? It's one of our harder ones of the day. The answer on 32 is D. It's 1.
33 C. 33, that's
33 is what you're trying to guess. Yeah, 1 and 2 can have the point. 33 is C. Okay, so 33 is actually what I would hope would be on the test, where it's literally we're just plugging in our formula. So you do have to know y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I know it's been a while, but you got to know it. So 8 minus 6 over -7 minus 2. So you get 2 over -9, which is C. If you made a sign error, which is what we've been talking about a lot lately, let's say you added -7 plus 2. You've gotten a -5 in the denominator. Notice answer choice B has a 5 in the denominator. They think through what answer mistakes you're going to make, and that's how they come up with the other answer choices. I thought when I saw 34 that it was going to be a problem. It's actually the easiest one, I think, on the study guide. Which one? Every group can have a point. It is D. I heard this group whispering D, and I know y'all answered D, so I'll give everybody a point. The slope is -4/5. So to begin with, I knew it wasn't A, it wasn't B, and it wasn't C, because C doesn't even have a negative slope. Now, this problem was still super easy because, yes, I'm supposed to put it in y equals mx plus b. They did tell me my m, but more than that, they told me my b, because my b is my y-intercept. Y-intercepts happen when x is 0. The point they gave me was 0, 7, so I knew that was supposed to be a 7. So I can, but seriously, once you knew the slope was -4/5, the only answer choice that fit that was D. 35 is D. So that's 2, 3, and 5 can have a point. So again, if we're wanting something that's undefined, so we're at 5-1, we're wanting something that's undefined, we need it to be straight up and down through that, which is going to be x equals 5. If you thought y equals 5, that's going to be in a line like this. Again, that kind of a line has a slope of 0, not an undefined slope. And if you thought x equals 1, you're not actually crossing through 5-1. So it had to be D. Again, we're just making sure you still understand undefined slope, 0 slope, what do you remember about slope. Okay, 36. 36 looked hard, and then first period helped me realize it was actually pretty easy. So first thing I did, they wanted it in slope intercept, which was y equals mx plus b. So I knew I needed to find my slope, my m. So I used my slope formula. Do you think in real life I actually write out the formula each time? No. I'm doing this now to prove a point in case there's someone in the room who doesn't remember it. Do I actually put that on my paper? Heck no. No one has time for that. Well, not too good, but I just don't. -7 minus a -2. Go ahead. Yeah. 3 minus a -1. I end up getting -7 plus 2 over 3 minus a -1. That ends up being a +4. So you get -5 over 4. Now, 1 gets the point. There was more work I was supposed to have to do after that. And if this wasn't a multiple choice thing, would I keep going and make life harder? Absolutely. We have a point, we have a slope. I probably would have used point slope like I did first period. But Caitlin is right. The only answer choice with that slope is D. So seriously, A, B, and C all have their own slopes. It had to be D. Had to be. Say what now? No. No. Okay, so 37 and 38. There was a trick, so we're in what form? We're in standard. We're in standard. Who had it first? They can have the point. We're in. Andrew, did you say it really quietly?
That was me. Yeah, I said that really quietly.
You did say it.
I said it really quietly.
You.
It was me. I promise.
Okay, you can have the point. Okay, so it's in standard. There was a trick that is A over negative B for the slope. Do I remember that? No. I put it in slope-intercept. So it used to be 2x minus 3y equals 6. I move my x's over. I divide by negative 3. I get 2/3 x minus 2. So it had to be C. Parallel lines have the same slope. Yes, and you can have a point. So in the same way, on 38, I had 2x plus 3y equals 5. So I moved the x's over, had 3y equals negative 2x plus 5. So y equals negative 2/3 x plus 5/3. So yes, it is negative 2/3 because parallel lines have the same slope. So it is B. And maybe you could have managed those. But then we get to 39, and lo and behold, they throw in the word perpendicular. Perpendicular. So let's go to 39. We need to go through the point 7, negative 1. There was a line y plus 2x equals 1. If I rearrange that equation, I'll have y equals negative 2x plus 1. My line needs to be perpendicular to this. So they gave me this line. My line needs to be perpendicular to this. So what does my line slope need to be? Okay, and I got on the second period for this. God bless you, table 2 and 3 both get a point because you said one word right and he said the right answer. You had Algebra 1, you had Geometry, and now you're halfway through Algebra 2 with trig. Every single class has gone over parallel and perpendicular. You've got to remember perpendicular, you flip it and change the sign. So it had to be flipped, change the sign. It had to be 1/2. Okay. 2 answer choices are out. What are they? A and B are out. 1 gets a point. Although they are annoying me, so I don't know. So it's either C or D. Why am I... She is on fire. Why am I mad at C and B? Why am I mad at these problems? What makes me upset about the answer choices? Yes. It's called a mixed number. It's mixed number, and I want improper fractions. I don't want 2 1/2. I want 5/2. I don't want 4 1/2. I want whatever that is. Okay, so I'm still mad at them. But so just bear that in mind. I know a point. I know a slope. Sure would help if we had a formula for that. Oh wait, we do. Point slope. Do you want me to ask for it, or is it going to hurt my feelings and I should just tell you? Point slope formula. Starts off with a y2. Okay. Trey, take the point. God bless you for remembering that. Were you supposed to remember that? Yeah. Okay, so we learned that in September, but you also learned it in Algebra 1. In fact, you spent like over a month on it in your Algebra 1 class. And yes, and in geometry. It's another one of those, like, I swear you've been doing linear stuff your whole life. Why it never clicked, I don't know. It's very concerning. They need to do a study on that. Okay. y2 minus my y1 is going to be negative 1, so minus a negative 1. x2 minus my x1 is 7. So I've actually got y2 plus 1 equals, and if I go ahead and distribute that 1/2 x2 minus 7 over 2. Now, I used to tell you, I get a little lazy. I stop writing the tiny 2's. So literally, all I've got to do is subtract 1 from both sides, and I'm done. Now, maybe you want to convert that to a fraction, because 1/1 to have a denominator of 2, it is really easy. But you could always put it in your calculator, and now that we've got that math frac button down, turn it into a fraction. So it's going to end up being y equals 1/2 x minus some number. Does anyone know what that number is?
4.
It is not a pretty number.
I just saw the answer like 1/2 x minus. That was the answer.
I want my improper fraction. I want my improper fraction. It's not 5 over 2. It is 9 over 2, Drea. You can have your point. Again, if you're still struggling with this, you can always... Where are you? Oh. You can always, bless you. There's like a whole... Take more. Take the whole like stack of that many. That way you can put them in your drawer. Whatever your color is. Again, we had negative 7 over 2. And then we subtracted 1. And you and I wanted it to be a fraction. So math frac, negative 9 over 2. Yay. I didn't even have to do fractions. I can do them in my calculator. Sadly enough. Okay, so the answer choice is D. Although I'm mad at them for doing the mixed number, I wish they had left it as an improper fraction. That's what we've done all year long.
So that's what I said. I said D.
Yeah, but then you said 4, and I wanted 9 over 2. Okay. Nah. That'd be confusing. 40. Yes, ma'am. Okay. 40 is an absolute value function. We need to know its range. Brady, tell me the answer. It is B. Absolute value functions. What letter of the alphabet looks like an absolute value function? Is it a U or a V? It's a V. Quadratics are U's. Absolute values are V's. So it's a V. Now, minus 4 on the outside, how does that change me? And I moved up, down, left, right, 4. It's on the outside, so we knew it was up or down. It's a minus 4, so it's down 4. So this is what my graph looks like. Some sort of V at minus 4. Range. Range is Y values. I'm reaching out from that axis. Where can I touch it? I can touch it negative 4, negative 3, negative 2 from then on out. I can't touch it before negative 4. It had to be bigger than or equal to. That's why Brady is right and it is B. If you picked A, you broke my heart. Why would A break my heart? Yes, Brady. You can have a point for that. We're trying to find the range. Range is Y. A says X. That would be domain. So automatically on number 41, still doing range, don't want C. C would be X's. That's domain. Okay, this one, they put it in weird notation. I'll give you that. We normally don't use that notation in here. I've got a V. It's not been moved left, right, up, or down any, so it's going through the origin. I need to know its range. What would the answer be? It is B. 1 and 5 get the point. It is B because I can touch it at 0, and then from then on out, so anything bigger than 0 is going to work. I couldn't touch it down here. There's nowhere to reach out and touch it. Yay, absolute values. 42. Is C. Eric gets the point. That is definitely an absolute value thing. 43 is... No.
Hey.
You're right. It's C. 43 is C. And you know what? I'm actually not mad at you if you didn't get that one. Well, I'm mad at you if you chose quadratic when you know that x squared, and absolute value when you know that involves the bars. I'm mad at you if you chose those. Hold on. No. I can only one thing at a time. Okay, I'm mad at you if you chose B or D. I'm not mad at you if you were trying to choose A or C. The answer is C, but you and I didn't like that word, identity. We call it a different kind of function. We always called it a linear function. Forget the point. We always called it linear. In fact, I used to scratch out the word identity when it was on the notes and put the word linear. I know I didn't on the semester exam, but I promised to those who take the actual, I didn't on the study guide, but I promised to those who actually take the exam, I will have handwritten, scratched out identity and wrote in the word linear, because identity's weird. Lots of functions have identities, like their main parent function. I don't like that term. I don't think that's right. But I digress. 44, what were you telling me the answer was? If you said C or D, I'm mad. We just talked about B was a linear function. I don't see any x's. It has to be a constant. It's going through -3. It's a straight line. It's a constant. Two more to go. 45 has words. Bless it. Fred works as a gardener. He charges at least $15 to drive to a residence, and then he charges $12 an hour. What is the relationship between the number of hours gardening and the total charge? Every single one of the answer choices has C and 15 plus 12G. We've just got to decide less than equal to, greater than equal to. Why? What words let you know that? Did you say at least, Landon? Okay, 4 and 5 get a point. The words at least, meaning he's getting at least this amount or more than, at least implies he could get more. That's why it has to be D. 45Z. It looked hard and it ended up being easy. 46 is where my heart can potentially break, but I'm going to try to hold it in. But just so you know, we're now to chapter 3 stuff, and we're about to test on the end of chapter 4. So this is not that long ago. It shouldn't have already left, yet for some reason it has in some people's minds. It is not. Let's talk about the different answer choices before we guess them, because some people have forgotten the vocab terms themselves. Okay, so we're doing a system of equations. We're going to have 2 lines. So I gotta have it. So here's A, here's B, here's C. It is not none of the above. It's one of those vocab terms. I thought it was gonna be B. It ends up being A, but I'm gonna need a reason as to why it's A. Okay, so as for the vocab terms themselves, consistent and independent. Do my 2 lines cross? Are they parallel, or are they the same line? They cross. They cross, and that solution is unique. That's why we called it independent. Okay, so inconsistent. Are they parallel? Do they cross? Are they the same line? They're parallel. Inconsistent is parallel. They don't share anything. That's why they're inconsistent. And then consistent and independent has to be, they're the same line. That's why it's dependent, because they have so many answers in common. Those answers aren't actually special, whereas this one is. That's why it's the independent guy. Okay. How are we supposed to solve this problem? Say it again, Landon. Oh, yeah. And that's what we're going to do in a second. So I'm supposed to put it in y equals x plus b, graph them, see if they cross. Not that deep. We can do that. There was a cheat. Does anyone remember the cheat? It failed, so it doesn't help this time. But there was a cheat. Does anyone remember how to cheat and not actually graph?
They have different slopes.
If they have different slopes, they should cross. If they have the same slope, then it depends on the intercept. But there was another kind of trick we were using, where when I looked at the equations themselves in standard form, I knew what the answer was. yes. If they were multiples of each other, so like I'm going to try and multiply this bottom equation by 2. I was thinking maybe they were multiples of each other. And if they are multiples of each other and they have the same number on the end, we're in this case where they're the same line. If they are multiples of each other, but that last number is different, we're in the case where they have the same slope but different intercepts, so they're parallel. But sadly, when I multiply by 2, the bottom equation is 4x minus 2y equals 16. And that little bitty sign difference, because the top one is plus 2y, the bottom one's minus 2y, my trick didn't work. Darn it. I do want to remind you of that, but Landon's right. My trick didn't work. I need to do what I was supposed to do. Stop trying to cheat. I need to put it in y equals mx plus b. Okay, so my first equation was 4x plus 2y equals negative 6. So I move my 4x over, minus 6. I divide by 2. I get y equals negative 2x minus 3. My second equation was 2x minus y equals 8. I move my 2x over. I change everybody's sign because I can't have that negative y. And while they do both have a 2, they're not the same sign. So since they technically have different slopes, I kind of anticipated they were going to cross. But I was still questioning my own sanity first period, and that doesn't hurt to question it now either. So I can always graph these. So negative 2x minus 3, 2x minus 8. I press graph. Oh, God, stat people. Why did you not turn your stat plot off? If you're in the same debacle that I'm in and you turn on your calculator and there's some weirdo junk on it, it's from stats class, and if you ask me, I can clear it out. It takes me a few minutes, but I can clear it out. Okay, I've graphed both lines now finally. They did cross. So it is A. But again, could we have probably guessed that to begin with? Yes. Did they actually ask us where they crossed? No. I could actually use my calculator to figure out where that intersection is right now. Did I have to do all that? No. Could I have used substitution or elimination or something else to solve all this problem too? Yeah. So, I mean, there's still more ways we could have done this. There are a ton more. We spent years of our life on this. Any questions on 46? Okay, I've gotten a little industrious tomorrow too. I might change my mind, because what are we supposed to do tomorrow? It would make sense that we're doing the study guide because the test is tomorrow. So I need to give you lots of time on the study guide. So I can't ramble as long, so I'm probably going to change my mind about this. But at the moment, I'm thinking 47 all the way to 62. 2 more pages. Now, that sounds a little industrious, and maybe I'll change my mind, but one reason I think that might happen is a bunch of those are matrices. And Lord knows we can fly through a matrix problem. So it is possible. Okay. Moving on. Get out your notes from yesterday. I swear I've got 2 things to say about that, and then you can work on your workbook stuff while you were sleeping. Bless your hearts, there is a 3rd workbook assignment. It is only 4 more problems, so it ends up being 10 problems total, so it's going to be 20 points total for the 3 workbook pages this week. Tomorrow we are doing the study guide, so if you were trying to get ahead in your life, if you wanted to go ahead and start that study guide, that would not be a bad idea. So as a reminder, you didn't like completing the square, you didn't really pay attention, you still hadn't figured it out. Of all the topics we've talked about this section, this is the one I'm most concerned you're going to do poorly on. For being honest, you stink the most at completing the square. Quadratic formula you've got down if you know the formula. If you don't know the formula, then what is life? Like, I don't know how you're going to do anything. You got to know the formula for that. 2 days ago, we talked about putting something in vertex form. So quadratic formula is easy. Completing the square is kind of hard. Vertex form is more of a medium. It wasn't that bad. Were there any questions about vertex form looking back now in life? yesterday is when we made Vertex form useful. Like, if we were given something already in Vertex form, can't we quickly graph it? No, we can. And today's going to go even faster than that. We're not going to graph or anything. We're given equations in Vertex form. We're literally just going to describe them. And how do we describe them? Using the 4 things we've been doing. I need the vertex, the axis of symmetry, the direction, and the shape. And then the shape and the direction. The direction's down. Why?
Because it's a whole number, not a whole number.
Bless you. And then, so we're done with number 9 already. That's literally all we're doing today. Number 9, number 10. Someone else want to tell me the vertex, the axis of symmetry, the shape, and the direction? -7. The axis of symmetry is just 9, positive 9. Remember those coordinates should match.
Oh, yeah.
The shape and the direction. Up because it's positive in front. And then have I tricked you on the shape? Do we care about the shape on this one? No, because it's an understood 1 in front. Shape only applies if there's a number or a fraction in front. Okay, so then let's do the next one. I need to know the vertex. It's 3 what? 3 -10. The axis of symmetry is 3. Okay, I agree with the direction is up. The shape, she said fatter. Why do we know she's right? The fraction. Now, if you want to put stretched or shrunk, because you don't like my skinny fat, and you want to be more mathematical, totally understand. But seriously, fat skinny is going to work for me. Okay, and then our last one, our vertex. 3, -4. Our axis of symmetry. 3. Our shape. And our direction. You've been tricked. It's down. There's a negative in front. What's our shape? Yeah, it stays the same. If you want to put same, that would work too. But we don't care because it's 1 in front. It's not actually being stretched or shrunk any. I like same. Same's good, DJ. Put same. That would be better than me and my crossing out self. That's good. You can have 2 points for that, DJ.
There you go, DJ.
Okay, are there any questions about this? It's so easy that the ones in the workbook are really repeats of yesterday's stuff. This part's so easy they didn't even make the workbook. I know that's kind of depressing, so I wish the whole test was this. I can rock this. But anyway, it is okay. You have the rest of the class period to work on your workbook stuff, the stuff you're missing from last week. My gosh, you've got a lot of stuff to do for me. If you somehow were miraculous and had all the things done, it wouldn't kill you to get a head start on that